Good evening. I'm Randall Brooks. I'll be giving a talk on pretty much Civil War, why it was considered the most modern war, versus why it's not the last of the ancient wars. Before we get started, go ahead and introduce my audience. Tammy, go ahead and film yourself.
Me?
Yeah, straight face.
Oh, I'll just reverse the camera.
Hello?
And here's Tony and James.
Hello?
All right, so Civil War. Why is it considered the first modern war? We're going to go ahead and look at three things. First thing we're going to look at is technology. Second thing we're going to look at is strategy. Then we're going to go ahead and look at the overall casualties as an effect of technology and strategy. So when we get into it, why is it the first modern war? When we look at the justification of a just war, what were the two sides fighting for? One was fighting for independence, the other one was fighting for emancipation. So it's not a clear-cut war like, I go here, I own this piece of land, I win, like a chess move. It's not like that. So let's go ahead and talk about technology. Why is this the most relevant? It's the most relevant because when you start looking at strategy and the military aspect, there's an acronym used in military doctrine. It's a DIME. It's you look at diplomatic, infrastructure, military, and economics. So technology goes into the military side of it. So we're going to look at pretty much land, sea, and air. So three things as far as the land aspect goes: the invention of a conical bullet. Previous they had like little ball bearings. You can see it kind of just analogy as a ball bearing. But then they developed a conical bullet. Basically, it's just a shaft does this, and it has a round part. So basically, it's more aerodynamic. It can travel further and inflict more damage. You also have you're looking at cannons. Basically, here's your first part of the first aspect of artillery. So they had a thing called the Swamp Angel. 200 shot 200-pound shell into the cities down in South Carolina. You're also looking at rifles. Union developed a repeating rifle. It's like not a Gatling gun or a chain gun, but basically it's a gun with not with a magazine, but has the ability to shoot more than one round at one time. All right, looking at air piece, you have the first hot air balloon was developed. Not really that great, but it's a technology. So basically, it was used for some snipers and some aerial reconnaissance. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the sea part. You have ironclads were developed. Basically, they're ships that had armor or metal on the outside where cannonballs can bounce off of. Basically, the ships weren't straight up and down perpendicular. They had like a 45-degree angle where the cannonball can bounce off that metal. And then we have the development of the actual submarine. The H.L. Hunley was the first one actually to sink the the Housatonic in Charleston. So basically, the submarine, the Hunley, had a 23-foot like spear, and it had a 135-pound charge detonation. Gonna ram into the ship, then go ahead and back off. And basically, this submarine was I don't say pedal powered, but the 8 guys in the submarine pedaling, making it go. So they go to reverse, back it up, and then get about 75 yards or 100 yards away. Then they pull it, and detonation. That's how the Hunley, the Housatonic sunk. It took about 3 minutes for the thing to sunk. I think 5 were dead. But last thing I want to go ahead and go, it's not land, sea, air, but it goes into infrastructure. Telegraph was developed. Union, they used it for communications and like near real-time intelligence. Strategy, when you look at the Union, they Scott came up with this Anaconda plan. Basically, you go around the whole South and encompass it and try to cinch down on it, make a blockade. Confederates, their strategy was different. They went through a war of attrition. Basically, just stay as long as you can, weather them down. But the advantage goes to the Union because they have more numbers and better technology. And also you see as far as the strategy goes, in the beginning they used Napoleonic tactics. So online, flanks, real messy, guns shooting at guns. Then you see toward the end you have trench warfare being developed. Other thing we go into is I want to go ahead and bring this up. Medical was still kind of primitive at the time, which is going to be a league way into the actual casualties that were inflicted. But this is the first time you see dedicated platforms, like a wagon, dedicated to moving troops off the field. And this is where you start seeing the development of a medical corps, as far as Army Air Medical Doctrine is the source on that. So you look at the overall casualties, it was about 600,000 overall for the Confederate War. But Union battlefield losses was 110,000. And as far as disease and other stuff, non-battlefield related or not directly, it was 250,000. Confederates was 94,000. and you had 164,000 for diseases as far as the Confederate side. So tie this all up. Why was this the most Civil War, the modern warfare? The first modern war is going to be a technology, strategy, and pretty much when you look at the overall casualties. And this is the only war that has all of them combined. It has the most casualties based on the technology and the military aspect. So when you look at it as far as the strategy goes, the DIME acronym, diplomatic, infrastructure, military, and economics. Infrastructure, you have telegraph, and you have buildings being bombarded by artillery. You have military, all technology. Economics, you have a union that actually had a transportation logistics model. But Tammy, do you have any questions?
I don't.
James or Tony?
No questions?
Well, that concludes my why the Civil War was the first modern war.
Thank you.
Yay!